Hi, everybody. We're going to get started in a few minutes, 5 minutes, so if you can grab a seat, that would be great. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Macklin. I'm the founding executive editor of Future Poem, and thank you so much for coming. This is the first reading in our series of for Segue at Artist Space for Future Poem, and we're really excited. We are starting with Holly Melgard today, so I wanted to give you a little backstory about this intro. When we first were asked by James and Lonely to curate, one of the first conversations was between Rob Fitterman, myself, and Monica de la Torre, and we met for coffee and at the Audre Lorde Center on 13th Street, and we were brainstorming about readers, and then it came out maybe around that time that Rob Fitterman was going to be in Italy for work. He's moving there for a couple of years. So he was really sad not to be able to introduce Holly in particular. So we came up with the brilliant idea of doing some intros from afar. So that's why that's my setup for Rob's intro for Holly. So with that, I'll give it over to Rob.
Holly Melgard is one of my favorite artists. And lucky for us, she's mostly a poet, although also an editor, publisher, teacher, designer, and maker of strange objects. Her work is unpredictable, hilarious, and super smart. Whether she's reimagining construction workers as Lilliputians or transporting her lovely and beloved cat Cran as a rebellious teen, or with Joey in White Trash, going through their household white trash can and cataloging all of its contents, from ShopRite receipts to losing lottery tickets to tissues with, let's say, all kinds of things. Holly once made for Coco's 16th birthday a pair of gloves with all the fingers sewn down except for the middle fingers. I can't imagine a work that is an artist that is more affirmative, life-affirming, and dark at the same time. As such, her favorite phrase is most appropriate. Hell yes. Please welcome Holly Melgard.
Thank you, Rob. One of my favorite poets. Wow, what an honor. Thank you, Future Poem, for having me here, Artist Space and Segue Reading Series for inviting me, hosting. Thank you so much, Rob, for that incredible introduction. And I'm really honored to get to read with Tilghman tonight. I put this selected poems together last year out by Ugly Duckling, Read Me. And the year before that, I put out this other book through Roof, Fetal Position, and I've been reading from those two books now for a couple of years, and I'm just really ready to read new work tonight. So those books are for sale over there. I'm gonna read you new stuff. Please buy those books. And in the meantime, here's some new stuff. So let's see. Start with I have 3 poems, 2 very long ones and 1 short one. I'll start with one of the 2 long ones. I'm one of these people who only dreams in nightmares. So I see a lot of dreams, dream journals out there, poems based on dreams and dream interpretation, but rarely do I ever see any kind of sustained focused on nightmares. So this poem is called Nightmares I Have. While treading water some miles offshore, dog-sized fish weave between my legs and mouth my feet, gently tugging me down. I'm just strong enough to resist the pull and keep my head above water for a few hours, until sometime after nightfall. My arms give way from exhaustion, and my head goes under. I wake myself up, gulping for air. My partner's head comes off in my hands while kissing him, and I yell myself awake. I'm on a hike with a family member, sometimes my mom or my dad, sometimes my brother, when they spontaneously announce they're no longer going to bother trying to stay alive anymore. Resigned to give up and just let death come take them away at whatever pace death so chooses, they suddenly go limp and drop to the ground. It's not suicide exactly. They just stop trying to survive. I then have to carry them the rest of the way back to the trailhead, but they're too heavy. Weeks wear on as I manage to drag them never more than 50 yards before the sun sets again. Each day they grow more dehydrated, emaciated, and scabbed over, but they keep breathing. At some point, while struggling to carry them down the mountain, I wake myself up crying out for help as my knees buckle with every step from the extra weight. I fell into a dark abyss again and screamed myself awake as I hit the bottom. This time it's a well near my old dorm. Last week it was a crevasse in the Arctic Circle. I come to after having accidentally murdered someone spend the rest of the dream on the lam, running from the police, attempting to avoid arrest. I dash from room to room, using anything I can find to hide my body from sight. Hardly anything I find, though, is big enough to cover my body. I huddle beneath a bath mat. I crouch betwixt some dining chairs. I stand behind a 2x4, sucking in my tummy. Cops find me within minutes every time, and I have to keep bolting room to room. This goes on for weeks. I come to just after having been sentenced to life in prison. I'm a billionaire who's convicted of murdering children. It's lights out, my first night, and I can hear the inmates plotting to kill me. I hide from an axe murderer who chases me, trying not to breathe in the closet while he unknowingly stands beside me. I accidentally make a sound when I shift my weight. I scream myself awake as I feel the axe penetrate my torso repeatedly in rapid succession. A ripple passes under my feet, followed by a white flash and a loud boom. The heat scorches my skin, but I'm still alive. The sky rains ash as I run from nuclear fallout. As the day wears on, my flesh gradually peels away, one layer at a time, until the last layers of my organs peel away too. I run from a pack of wolves that are hunting me, but I can't seem to keep my body upright, and end up running on all fours, which is awkward and less efficient. The wolves run way faster than I can, and they're going to get me any moment. I'm 12 years old and 4 months pregnant. My dad doesn't believe in abortion. I find a baby I forgot I gave birth to in my sock drawer again. Sometimes I find it in the back of my closet or under dirty clothes. Starved and severely dehydrated, it is gray, withered, and looks dead, but it still has a pulse and wheezes. It weighs almost nothing in my arms. It doesn't accept the milk I try to give it. It is mute, but its eyes look furious and betrayed. I lose my adjunct job because I had a medical complication from giving birth and have to forfeit the courses I teach. Not allotted as many sick days as needed to recover. The school never hires me back because it instead just hires my replacement. Skipping the one about small press distribution collapsing. A bear outside has been trying to break into my house for the better half of a day, has removed the last plank of wood in the door that was keeping him out. He's entering now with nothing left to hold him back. Bears chase me. As I pack to go on an international trip, things keep disappearing from my suitcase every time I look away. Over and over again, I place my passport in my suitcase, and when I return from gathering the next thing, it's gone again. Family members keep removing and placing the contents of my suitcase, telling me they stashed it in a safe place, not wanting it to get lost under piles of their things in the house. As this cycle wears on, I watch the remaining time to catch the flight come and go as I keep losing and finding my passport again and again. Unable to afford a replacement ticket, I miss my chance to get out. On the way to the airport for an international flight, the car breaks down. I catch a cab from the freeway shoulder, but it's quickly struck by an SUV and decommissioned. I steal a motorcycle from under a guy, but it runs out of gas. I find a rusty bike with no seat, but the wheels fall off moments after I begin riding it. The skateboard I steal won't support me with my suitcase's combined weight, so I ditch the suitcase. The rain turns the skateboard to mush. The roller skates I find are too small, and I immediately break both my ankles. The inflatable raft I steal from a fishing dock comes with a paddle no bigger than a spoon. Eventually, I just use both arms to propel the raft until it springs a leak and sinks. After swimming to the shore and climbing a ravine, I hot dog roll down the hill to the airport, but I roll over a bed of glass mixed into the pile of leaves at the bottom and shred open my skin in ribbons. An emergency alert on my phone says an incoming nuclear strike is expected to hit me in the next 5 minutes. I run from apartment to apartment looking for an empty refrigerator big enough to fit me. I tell the person running nearby to hurry up and jump in the tub down the hall. They don't make it, but I do. After the blast, everything becomes radioactive and covered with soot. I spend the rest of the dream not knowing what I can touch, if anything, that won't kill me. The world is lava. My rich childhood best friend, whose parents explained to her poor people are poor because it's their fault, is out of town at a special camp for gifted children, which she did every summer when we were growing up. But today, I need to borrow her dress for a recital because I've outgrown all of mine and my parents can't afford to buy me new ones. She tells me to just sneak in while her parents are out grocery shopping so that they won't reprimand her for lending me her things. They come home while I'm going through her closet, so I hide under the bed for 2 days before they finally leave the house again, and I miss the recital. The majority of the dream is spent waiting under the bed, sometimes beginning to sneak out, only to have to dart back under the bed again when I hear someone coming. I have a piano recital that no one told me about, which requires me to play a repertoire of songs I've never seen before in front of a room of hundreds of strangers. I'm a terrible sight reader, and the adjudicators interrupt in the middle, asking me to just stop and let myself out. I cry myself awake. The first time I cried myself awake from a nightmare, I was 4. I'm on Sesame Street. Big Bird and a bunch of other kids are there. We all gather around a big shiny gumball machine. Big Bird gives everyone but me a gumball. I'm in a musical, but I run out of time to memorize my lines and choreography. Opening night, I show up resigned to just read my lines off the script, but I lose the script just before taking the stage and have to improvise everything. I'm a contestant on Project Runway in the middle of the unconventional challenge. In the dash to gather materials, all I manage to grab is a yard of 1-inch thick wire that's too heavy to bend without cutting up my bare hands. I managed to curl it into a rough cage shape, but we have to model our own creations, and no matter what I do to cover up, my privates are visible. The judges, feeling sorry for me and another contestant, give us a head-to-head rematch. All I managed to grab the second time is a lampshade that's too little to cover my privates. But I wear it anyways in an attempt to pass the challenge. The female judges can't stand it when the designer fails to cover the model's privates. I'm the first of the season to be sent home. Midway through buying my groceries at the store, a draft passes over my hips as I realize I've forgotten the bottom half of my clothes at home. I'm meeting my boyfriend's parents for the first time over dinner at their place. All of the chairs surrounding the dining room table are toilets. There is no other bathroom in the house. When I ask where I can find the restroom, they tell me I'm sitting in it and encourage me to let it go freely. They are horrified by the number 2 that I take at the dinner table, which refuses to flush because the toilet has a sink drain like a bidet. It turns out I'm the only person who shits in this world, and no matter what I do, I can't change or stop it. After everyone leaves the room in disgust, I take it to the outside trash can with my hands. But dinner never resumes. Everyone has lost their appetite, and I'm asked to leave. I open a nondescript envelope that informs me that my degrees are void because I neglected to complete one course requirement in middle school. My employment is suspended until I get my degrees reinstated, which motivates me to get it done, but I keep missing class and quickly fail to meet the attendance requirement. Semester after semester, I return to those godforsaken middle school halls, politely tolerating my peers in the classroom, enduring the humiliation of an inevitable failure year after year, without a thing to show for it other than the nullification of my education and indefinite suspension of my employment at my multiple part-time teaching jobs. Just past the closet near my bathroom, I find a door I never noticed before that leads to a whole other wing of my apartment I never realized I had. It's spacious and full of cute vintage furniture and art supplies aplenty, a perfect sanctuary for making all the arts and crafts I could ever want to build. And there are even extra bedrooms to fit the children we always wanted but never had room for. However, within moments of entering the space, poltergeists began an aggressive campaign of flashing lights and smashing things onto other things at a rhythm and the volume of a jackhammer. Every time I attempt to enter, the poltergeists drive me out again. There is a whole other wing of my apartment bigger than the side I live in that just sits there forever vacant and unused. Every day I pay twice as much rent for half as much space while praying the poltergeists don't cross over to my side. That's one. I'll take a sip of water here. Palate cleanser, a short one. This poem begins with an epigraph by Aimé Césaire from his essay Poetry and Knowledge. He says, "Poetic knowledge is born in the great silence of scientific knowledge." This poem's called Adam. Adam Driver almost hit me with his SUV the other day when I rode my bike through Park Slope. We exchanged glances of betrayal from across the hood after he slammed his brakes, and I defiantly raised both arms over my head. It took a few days for me to fully register what had happened. I was in denial at first that a famous man by the name of Driver could be a bad driver who almost hit me on my bike with his SUV in Park Slope. Following our near collision, I watched every movie Driver ever made compulsively. Not because I wanted to. I couldn't stop watching, like I was locked in a room waiting for the door to open, which didn't end up happening until after I watched them all. Driver signed up for the military the day after 9/11 and trained as a soldier for 2 years, but was medically discharged following an injury and never served overseas. Sad not to serve, he enrolled in Juilliard, became an actor, and started a not-for-profit that brings theater to all branches of the military. His 9/11 reactionary politics as a young man were problematic, but his acting today really is exquisite. Martin Scorsese says he's the finest actor of his generation. I wonder if Driver kept the birth of his son secret from the press for 2 years because he was afraid of letting into his life anything that could disrupt his earning of self-love through acting. Like, what if Driver's dad only said "I love you" when he outperformed the other children at his piano recitals? If no one knew he had a kid, no one would know how terrible he was at tending to his child while a new parent who was simultaneously making all those movies that really aren't that bad as far as movies go. He could have kept it secret out of some kind of perfectionism thing, like the child being the exception to the system that is otherwise this machine of impeccable acting. Maybe he feared letting the child into his narrative of his bio, because if his employers saw him flirting with child rearing, they might not have taken him so seriously as a viable candidate for their films. And if he didn't get the jobs that would enable him to earn self-love, he would be nothing or less than nothing. I wonder where he got this need for validation through achievement, whether his dad's words of "I love you" were his only respite from a childhood otherwise riddled with deep physical and emotional abuse by him and other family members. I'll bet his dad's words meant more to him because even though he was likely just as abusive as the rest of the family, his dad was probably the only person who ever stood up for him, sometimes even physically fighting off the other family members to protect him, making his father's praise the only antidote to the resting state of despair he otherwise carries at all times, which clearly galvanizes his acting so profoundly. I'll bet he knew that siding with the abuser would keep him safe. I'm just going to use up the rest of my time with this until the time runs out. This last poem's called, it's excerpts from a poem I'm building called Deep Fakes. It begins with an epigraph from Joey Iris-Algazin. Question: what's the best thing a poem can do? Answer: well, that's easy. You bring grandma back to life. Question: how do you do that in a poem? Answer: you just say it. Deep fakes. Lately, I've been using AI to collect all the apologies I am owed that I always needed but never got. For example, here is the concise apology from my father that I've always needed but never received. My dearest daughter, I know my actions have hurt you, and I'm incredibly sorry. My emotional immaturity led me to act abusively and sabotage your success as an adult. It breaks my heart to admit this, but I see now that my behavior has been driven by the misogynistic belief that women are the custodians of my own pain, which is something I deeply regret. Holly, please understand that my actions were never a reflection of how much I value you or your achievements. Instead, they stem from my own insecurities and misplaced beliefs. I've been grappling with feelings of inadequacy, and I realize now that I projected those feelings onto you unfairly. I want you to know that I'm committed to changing. I'm committed to addressing my emotional immaturity and dismantling the toxic beliefs that have guided my behavior. I want nothing more than to see you succeed and thrive, and I understand now that my actions have been a barrier to that. I know that words alone cannot erase the pain I've caused you, but please know that I'm truly sorry. I hope you find it in my heart to forgive me, blah, 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 with all my love, Dad. If it's true what Audre Lorde says, that poetry gives name to the nameless so that it can be thought, then what if adopting AI into my poetic toolbox would enable me to finally heal my wounds inflicted by those who have hurt me the worst by naming those thoughts? I showed this letter to my therapist, telling her that it helped me carry less anger toward my dad in my daily life, describing it to her as a breakthrough for the creative nonfiction literary tradition. She pointed out that the form allowed me to name more detail about what hurt me in the first place than I had managed to produce when I tried writing him letters in my own voice. But studies also show that when victims of wrongdoing are given apology, they typically begin to heal emotionally, as the apology enables us to no longer perceive the wrongdoer as a personal threat, the kind of personal threat that causes us to lose bandwidth to monitoring that threat. AI helped me generate this apology from my father that I always needed, but that he was never able or willing to provide, whether because he lacked the desire, or courage, remorse, or imagination to try, I don't know. But after writing it using ChatGPT, I emailed it to myself from his account, since he's in his 80s and I'm the one who created all his accounts and passwords anyway. And within a week of having read his apology back to myself, after months of not talking to each other, I managed to call him and carry out a whole 20-minute conversation of small talk about the temperamental differences between cats and dogs. This is a level of intimacy with a wounded man in the twilight of his life who has hurt me deeply that I have not been able to bring myself to engage in for years otherwise. William Carlos Williams, a poet who was also a medical doctor in the Spanish flu pandemic, wrote that it may be difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is to be found there. Well, not this guy, not anymore. I'm not letting him die without first recovering the apology I am owed. His cycle of violence stops here. If the tools now exist for the people who have hurt you to apologize in ways we have always needed and deserved, but were previously unable and deprived, then what are we waiting for? I teach writing at a couple of different universities who are dealing with a lot of issues surrounding undisclosed use of ChatGPT and plagiarism right now. So I used AI to write me an apology from my best student, whose writing has grown so much over the time we worked together, but who this year has thrown that all away to just have ChatGPT write his papers for him. Dear Holly, I owe you a sincere apology for the setback I've caused in our collaborative efforts to improve my writing. By resorting to ChatGPT to compose my papers, I regrettably veered away from the productive path we had been on. This action not only undermined the progress we had achieved, but also hindered my personal growth as a writer. I recognize the importance of taking responsibility for my own learning and the necessity of actively engaging in the writing process. I deeply regret any disappointment or frustration this may have caused you. Moving forward, I'm fully committed to recommitting myself to our shared goals, to redouble my efforts in honing my writing skills, working diligently under your guidance to achieve the standards we have set together. With sincere apologies, your student. The student's not alone with this problem. Almost all of my students now use ChatGPT and Grammarly to eliminate all trace of human error in their writing voice. Some are better at masking it than others, and most of the time, I lack the resources as a teacher to catch each one in the act and hold them accountable, or show them how to edit their own writing for conciseness before having to pass them along to the next teacher. At my second job, where I teach intro to college writing classes, I no longer see in their documents any redundancies or non sequiturs, repetitions, misspellings, grammatical errors, or even wordiness of any kind. This in a classroom where 60 to 70% are international students without a firm enough grip on the English language to understand oral instruction without also having to see those instructions in writing. And at my third job, where I tutor, a place that used to have a 1-week wait for appointments, most of my day is now spent making small talk with fellow tutors, as many of our appointments go unfilled. Tutoring has always given me a unique window into seeing firsthand how writing tools shape a writer's thoughts and action. There, students seek my help without needing to hide their real process, because they don't perform their learning to me for a grade. Every student I've worked with there this year has brought in writing that they confess has used ChatGPT in one way or another, asking me for advice on how to better incorporate it into their writing, the parts that the machine wrote for them. Over the last 2 years, every time I asked a student there whether they use Grammarly, the answer was always yes. And I'm now seeing students use these tools to generate anything from outlines to theses to counter-arguments, a summarizing paragraph, or their conclusion, often pasting into ChatGPT their draft and asking it to draw their conclusions for them. Some have even admitted to me that they no longer Google their questions and instead just ask ChatGPT directly for the answers. Rather than Googling, for instance, what is hegemony, which requires them to synthesize multiple search results and filter out the sponsored content, AI now just gives them the answer condensed into one pithy, pre-digested summary. On the one hand, artificial intelligence can help humans by modeling for us what we otherwise struggle to conjure and imagine. For example, AI has been used to detect cancer cells far more efficiently than human doctors ever could. On the other hand, it is radically reshaping the written world at scale more quickly than we writers can keep up with. Ostensibly, students now outsource their thinking to their machines, acting as hosts to the will of a man-made parasite that makes their critical thinking decisions for them much of the time. Or is it the machine that's helping students think better than they could on their own by guiding them towards best practices for writing more immediately and consistently than I ever could? The business class wants writers to embrace these tools. Business professors now tell their students not to show them writing that wasn't fixed by Grammarly. Many college administrators now tell their employees and teachers, including their teachers, to embrace these tools that more efficiently communicate with their underlings, superiors, and coworkers. And what could be wrong with turning our agency as writers over to the machines to do our intellectual work for us in a world where there is no such thing as truth beyond consensus anyway? Is it wrong to sanitize from an author's writing all trace of their human voice, all of those speech-based parts of language that contribute to meaning-making, that sound less than concise, but which give an author's voice an air of character? The one exception to this trend I'm describing is my poetry students at my third job, where the topic of their writing is all about their unique perceptive field. Unlike predominantly expository writers I've described at my other 2 jobs, the poems and cover letters I grade at my third job are riddled with rookie mistakes, grammatical typos, passive voice, unintentional mixed metaphor, cliche platitudes jumbled into word salads. These marks of non-conciseness are now like proof of life as I know it that I cling to. They are what writing by humans who are learning has always looked like at my jobs until now. But how can it be that poetry, unlike all the other kinds of writing, isn't getting taken over by AI? Why are students using AI to shape their writing about the world around them, but not using it to improve the quality of their writing about their interior lives as well? Who says we can't use AI to renovate our personal expression and language, which in turn profoundly reshapes our narratives about who we are, what drives us, and who we're modeling ourselves to become? Through almost a decade now of intensive therapy, I've come to learn that in addition to the design of my writing tools shaping my thoughts, as Nietzsche described it, my unhealed emotional wounds also play a profound role in shaping how I'm able to think, perceive, process, and respond to my world on a moment-by-moment basis. If AI can be used as a tool to expand our abilities to write and think the things we otherwise can't imagine or bring ourselves to say, then it can also be used to reshape our narratives about our capabilities as people. Here's the apology from my mother that I've always needed, but that she could never think to give me. My dear Holly, I owe you an immense apology for the ways in which my internalized misogyny has shaped your upbringing. I regret teaching you to tolerate abuse and prioritize others' needs over your own. Being an artist myself, I've always used my own practice to cope with pain, but I realized that I was wrong to only ever show you how to cope with real pain by translating it into art, rather than by showing you how to cope with it directly, or even how to prevent it from happening in the first place by keeping healthy boundaries. It breaks my heart to realize that I instilled in you the belief that you should never walk away from abusers. You deserve to be taught that your safety and well-being are paramount, and for failing to do so, I'm truly sorry. I also regret the crisis of boundaries that my artistically oriented pedagogy as a parent, geared towards always transgressing and undermining boundaries, has caused for you. Furthermore, I deeply regret always pressuring you to forsake your dreams of a writing career in favor of prioritizing motherhood and family life. You deserve the freedom to pursue your passions without guilt or obligation to fulfill my selfish wish for grandchildren, and for not providing you with that, I am sincerely sorry. To my own credit, though, it's worth acknowledging that despite misguided intentions, I do deserve some form of recognition for steering you away from a potentially lucrative career in STEM and towards the arts and creative self-expression instead, because you do seem to enjoy being a poet and you do only live once. However, I understand now that this is a hollow victory in the face of the greater harms I have caused you. Holly, my beloved daughter, I'm profoundly sorry for my narcissism and for inadvertently recreating in you the very problems that caused me so much pain in my own life. Please forgive me as I strive to unlearn harmful beliefs, be a better mother. Please know that I'm committed to breaking the cycle and supporting you, blah, blah, blah. Please forgive me. With love and remorse, your mother. With these primary traumas now resolved, I moved on to bigger issues. I used ChatGPT to write us the apology from Donald Trump that we are owed, even getting him to admit how his narcissism is not a good model for business or administrative leadership. At first, ChatGPT refused to write it in his voice with his name at the bottom, so I had to omit his name from the prompt and insert his name at the bottom myself. The preface ChatGPT provided at the top of the first version of the apology it gave read, "As much as I understand your request, I must clarify that I am an AI language model and not the individual you are asking to apologize. However, I can provide a fictionalized apology as per your request." But is it fiction to use AI to model for us the solutions that we humans cannot bring ourselves to imagine? Or is this poetry giving name to a nameless part of our experience so that it can finally be thought? Is not the truth a relief to hear in the voice of the one who denies it? And now with this apology in hand, maybe we'll be able to physically withstand Donald Trump's next 4 years in office. In the same way that corporations can't be held accountable for harm because they are run by committees of people rather than individuals, and thus cannot be prosecuted as would an individual, I have discovered that AI can also give voice to more than one person who has hurt me at a time. Now that AI can synthesize multiple people's points of view into one composite voice, I'm now collecting all the apologies from companies like Amazon for damaging our world and annihilating local economies. Using AI to synthesize board members into one conglomerate voice capable of admitting culpability got me thinking. Companies don't usually admit to liability like this for legal reasons, but that doesn't mean we can't use one company to admit to the other's wrongdoing. Using ChatGPT, I was able to collect this apology not just from Amazon, but from other companies too, from whole industries, entire organizations, whole cultures, societies, institutional systems as well. Here's a fun one from the fossil fuel industry as a whole for undermining our future as a species and gaslighting us about it. I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Holly, for the amazing reading. And we're going to take a 5-minute break and return with Tilghman Goldsborough. If you haven't had a chance to donate to Segue and you're online, please do so. Or you could do it by Venmo online or here as well. The Venmo's outside. And Holly has some books out there as well as future poems. So see you in 5 minutes.
necklace of leaves. Despicable me, get your buddy home. Weeds are reported to plants. Let's roll to the beat alone. Is this mine? Send it back. Retired to your broad stroke. Let's roll to the beat alone. Let's roll to the beat alone, gang stalker. Rain over now, softer than clouds. First one to bow is a betting man. Bees are addicted to ants. Let's roll to the beat alone. Is this mine? Send it back. Retired to your broad stroke. Let's roll to the beat alone. Let's roll to the beat alone, gang stalker. Let's roll to the beat alone. Let's roll to the beat alone. Let's roll to the beat alone, gang stalker.
The child, 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 the child.
Yes, bring it up to the mangrove. Bring it down to the docks. Deaf, dark, dumb as a light bulb. Yeah, in a box of rocks. The simple child never wanted it to be this way. He looked up at the sky, see the human race punching the clock in his funny little secret place. So how is the simple child? Tonight I find him in a pile of paper, rubbing the full extent of a chain, cursing the storm that still never came. And he struggled tonight, and he fights so right, and he cried up to God, why'd you make this life? And I speak directly to you, starlight, my Lord. Hey, I'm just trying to change the world anyway. And he don't plan where the docks don't rock, so let him who cast stones do it from the tippy top. The simple child never wanted it to be this way. He looked up at the sky, see the human race punching the clock in his funny little secret place. So how is the simple child? Tonight I find him in a pile of paper, rubbing the full extent of a chain, cursing the storm that still never came. And he struggled tonight, and he fights so right, and he cried up to God, why'd you make this life? And I speak directly to you, starlight, my Lord. Hey, I'm just trying to change the world. Ask if you can ask.
Ask if you can ask, if you can ask.
Ask if you can ask.
Thanks for asking.
Ask if you can ask.
Ask me.
Ask if you can ask.
Go ahead, just ask.
May I finger blast you?
Shoot your shot.
Can I lick your ass too?
Couldn't hurt to ask.
If I ask again, if I ask if I can ask again.
I just gotta ask.
Do I have your consent to compliment
Just ask
your
me.
beautiful smile, your charm?
May you please ask me.
If I ask and say please, would you do things to me?
Keep on
I
asking.
wouldn't ever ask of a
I
friend.
wouldn't ask it to no one.
Come on,
Couldn't hurt to ask. Shoot your shot, just ask.
ask if you can ask.
Come on, get asking.
Ask if you can ask.
It's not a crime, just ask.
May I blow your your birthday.
asking.
If I ask again, if I ask if I can ask again,
I gotta ask.
do I have your consent? If I can ask, if I can ask
Go
again.
ahead, just ask. It couldn't hurt. It's not a crime, just ask.
Killing an angel. Yes, I might be crazy. Yeah, I'm fucking nuts. Am I strong enough? Am I tough enough? Am I ever gonna beg the devil for my grave? Yeah! Killing an angel. Ripping off its wings, ripping everything. Yeah! I'm a monster, yeah, I'm a martyr now. Will the Holy Ghost I've never known not save me now? Yeah!
Just a minute. We're gonna get started again.
Killing an angel. I guess you gotta get it, get you coming up. Yeah! Can't say no to me. Guess you've gone away. And an angel now has fallen and has gone away. Yeah! Killing an angel. Yeah! I don't think of being central. I hope you're feeling cool. But I seem to remember making all the rules. I made everything. I made nothing too. And I really care for you. Oh baby, you know it's all for you. That's where I fly my flag. Cheer, loving, mother, hugging, son of a gun, my flag. Darkness is a daylight dancer, prancer, painter, necromancer, paying the piper to call my favorite tune. I know everyone, I know what they do, and I really needed to remember. I'd love if we could groove. That's where I find my bag. Blood chugging, keep the motor running, son of a lad. That's where I fly my flag. Give me just one reason and I'm putting it up, my flag. That's where I fly my flag. Holy jeepers creepers, y'all, I'm putting it up, my flag.
Ladies, boys, gals, bras, dames, fellas, skirts, heads and chads. We're all getting mad, one and all.
Taking umbrage on another's behalf. I'm good if you're cool with that.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3,
four, one, two, three, four, one, dukes, four, chicks, ricks, babes, bros, hoes, kings, girls, men and girls, fight to the death, one and all. Taking umbrage on another's behalf, 'cause y'all made me feel attacked. One, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rise above, see what you're made of. Test yourself. In times like this, I rise above. Now that they drag me through the mud, rise above, drag me through the mud, rise above, drag me through the mud. I will not stay there for long. I will not let you down like for so long. I thought we were in love, rise above. In times like this, I rise above. The world will know what my name was. Go ahead and drag me through the mud, rise above, drag me through the mud, rise above, drag me through the mud. Let love be bold, let love be here, untold. Be the love that you receive, the vows between you and me. It's not just me anymore. I'm spoken for and by the way love and so me want so free. Love is love. I love you. I love our love. Love is loving. Love you so much. Take my love.
All right, everyone, we're gonna get started back up again. Yeah, that's how you say it. Thanks, thank you, Holly. I love the nightmares so much and identify. Hi, I'm Aiden, managing editor at Future Poem, and I kind of want to take as little time up here as possible. Yeah, before I introduce Tilghman, I'd like to just say some thank yous. So big thank you to James and Lonely from Segue for inviting us to this really wonderful opportunity. It's a privilege. Thanks to Jay, Daniel, and Rosarta from Artist Space for hosting us. Thank you to our readers, Holly and Tilghman. Thanks to everyone at Future Poem, especially Rob Fitterman, Monica De La Torre, Ryan Cook, Zoe Tuck, and others for their work on the series. If you're watching on Zoom, please consider donating $5 to Segue Foundation, all of which will go to the readers today. We have a few author books and other Future Poem books for sale today. I believe there's 2 of Holly's, which was mentioned, yeah. Cool, thank yous, done. And Tillman's work, that's right. I'm intimidated by trying to follow Rob's virtuoso experimental introduction. I think next time I'll go to Italy. But It's pretty difficult to know how to talk about Tillman's work because it feels to me as if we'd have to learn, I'd have to learn a new lexicon or a new manner of discourse, redefine the way discourse is practiced to do so accurately. There's often talk about poetics that straddles the frames of past movements, styles, epistemologies, systems of meaning making, etc. And on rare occasions, there are poetics that actually twist those frames until they shatter, resulting in poetry that might be called visionary. I admire Tillman's practice because from working with him on his forthcoming book, Object 7, A Spirit Loosely Bundled in a Frame, it's clear how closely connected his approach to writing and his approach to living are. Such close correspondence to me bespeaks an unconditional commitment to the experience of living inside of language. That language is something to be lived through. And yeah, very simply, it's not every day that we get to see a total renewal of language on the page the way that Tilghman does for us. So please welcome Tilghman. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, give me a second to get settled and fix the fucking mic every goddamn. This way? There we go. Howdy. I'm Tilghman. Thank you, Aiden. Yeah, that was really good. I feel like a serious poet. Yeah, for a long time, that was the main thing. I just wanted people to take me seriously. So, accomplished, I think. Cool. Sick. I had this idea that I was gonna ramble for a while. No, I had this idea I wanted to ramble for 20 minutes, like I was gearing up to read a poem and then just kind of walk off. Thank you, Holly. That was really sick. Thank you, Segue. Thank you, y'all, for being here. It's my birthday. I'm 33. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. All right. Yeah, let's get the show on the road. All right. I'm gonna try and keep track of time. Boom. Yeah, okay, so the whole new shit thing. Yeah, so I have some new shit, but I'm gonna read old shit first. And then end with old shit, but new. 23 experiments number 18, aka armchair speleology. Pass at Tompkins by Holy Tree called 1133 semicircle, gathered yet feeling stomach tug plus fluid pool, eye anxiety type bubbling that only happens in PW public. Something like a sitting target, out to be got, and somehow obscenely open to robber thieves, aka passes to excavate a thought from earlier. I always have this thing with reading the fucking headings or not. I'm not gonna do it today. Extramission pushing, image out eyes, sound implies a fluid, great big, leave you gasping, terrified, humbled at total mercy, laying at feet, prostrate for hours, total devotion, still in grit ash, under fire, turn self into prey, vulner, disable in pursuit of. Was on the scale tip, big V small, now V everlasting, particular V universal, got lost for a minute in cartoonish holdup, slapstick, three guys nodding down park, three guys nodding down bench, jack me for new bike. Somehow I get helmet on. One in beige Carhartt had a knife and drowsy eyes. They all seemed sad and euphoric, swaying almost. All clothes faded to same color, polluted bay gray, growling, not talking exactly. Wield lock as weapon. They brandish a rat. Born in blue bar cage, one of them gets kicked in the chest. Somehow I escape on bike, no bloodshed. Thought some like hyper focus on could say swimming in the right here, right now, disallows or detracts from or turns attention away from the grander meta outside analyzing look into no critique of systems, etc. D. Actually, it does make more sense to read the fucking headings. So that was 11-1, this is D. The first one was C. A spider crawled across lap. I'm glad I didn't kill it. Strike out in fear of bite. Really fear implanted by Christian propaganda book. Brown recluse attack on public school. Don't get the noise of the toys. Feel small and powerful. A. And everything always, so big it's scary, like an earthquake, building falling down, gravity, dragging you head first over toward green paint ground. Like the question, what would you do with $1 million? 500,000, 1, 10, can't be quantified, don't take that much. 11-2. Another 11 under Virgo new moon at office, decided upon 3/11, feels appropriate, first two analog, last one digital. It's Charlotte's birthday, strangers and passersby joined in on the singing. Long 11, 33 to midnight, scene shifted, the animal lovers and searchers for kindness departed without asking to bum, replaced by teachers, one has a kitschy swin, keep getting lost, drawn into blankness. Funny thought, unsound word type language drawing, lined on page, Russian is braille, we all hear music, perfect pop lines are precious, always save them. Remember. Spooky voice intonation almost like a solo chorus. Man or lady, can only think of mom. Ship Creek sound effects. Meat cargo stuffed in wood. Pause. 40-minute break. Two friends are boxing, followed by cops down dark path. Landed between 9:46 and 10:12. Position in space. Salve for pseudonym. Distended eyes. Palpitations. Something like the specific rim isn't everything. B. Any direct is an attempt at conversion. Any direct is an attempt at conversion of some sort. Don't want to expand cult influence in pockets world over. Growing communities of believers like maggot mold. Eating all your rot, endless bounty. Culture for the people. Snack of shit tracks. Boiled, covered in peat. 11-3. Hawks keep bankers' hours, apparently. Right now, a cool breeze shadow covers text. Feels like plastic store tags, still stuck in shirt by base and neck. Forgot I farted in an elevator today. Thought about it, decided not to warn. Thought maybe jacket trap stench. Till slow creep green finger tickles. Everybody stand extra still. Don't look up, nor laugh. Forget you're turning left. Quick dab, wet eye. Have moment of concern. What about is Q? Where is God here? Are you looking for him? Actually, turning over rocks, digging holes, climbing the highest, running fast as you can, eyes shut. Free, floating in life fluid, one long stink, stretched in continuous lines, sometimes plucked. Point is, God comes in through your body? Pure form from universe, all one, eyes, single sense, so many different, become one same. Arc of history, cross story, rhizomatic, metaphorical, literal deaths. Come closer, isolated man whispers in mirror. E. Still thinking about that spider. Kind of dewdrop Doja Cat silver. It looked pregnant. I think I want children. Is that touching it? A continuation and offering to the passing, yellowing, wrinkling, rot, decay, maybe end up on side of street, launching a raft, a ship. Launching a raft, a ship, rocket type shit. Khalil sent to live as man on earth. '23 experiments number 15. Monday 31. Behold this lighter I just bought under office full moon, 98% or more, dead battery, cut off correspondence. And look, right there, a nigga pissing, all out in the open, not even trying to hide himself. Dry mall, wet dig divot under bushes, Seiko no longer, announce love to other, a show, a tell, a made known by some means, bare-backed, whiskey-blooded, that there dog is a coyote, night jelly under wood-rimmed web net, make a rollie for Jeremy, here new press against grinders, tip flex toward pallet, squatting under mulch, and Sonic Youth shirt I said I wouldn't wear, broken covenant looms big, fake British accent, promising chitlin tickle. Holy tree, wagon wheeled, 10th and B, chief, leave, walk backwards, search for dark corner, may be a man's bedroom, ammonia coated, smeared with plastic detritus, puckering kiss, growling protected blood of ancestors, a picture I already won't use. Los Osos Cuatro, 4 black, 3 brown, 2 red, 1 white. Feel the need to give away, make up for consumption, egotistical release. Copped hard-eye llama lighter, during telephonic something Irish exit. Look orb little ocean, Z croucher over there, nodding human under scaffold. Inert aluminum leering at mango salsa show, red lit icon londo, vape smoke cigar. Madrugada marmalade, hind woven charm, timeshare memory on lake with grace, road and future Yorn 96 E-class. Forests are wet, alive, mutant turtle green, light might stolen bike, weighed by chains, Dominican abuelos, twirl Mona Lisa mother, said to a cousin, shut up, and it still makes me feel bad. Respect your elders as a lifestyle, nose turned to floor, all black, teta clad, rubber roll cage slope, mech munches ripened refuse, drool glyphs Monday night weekend pizza, blue crew on stoop asleep checks watch, time passes like train, a whisper rattle, clack in the distance, a locksmith, a hug, kiss on the mouth, choose one, upper or lower, lip or Egypt, down is north, Kemet is holy, I buy things with money I made, some of it was given. Mattel pink-coated dining, unlocked U-Hauls, sudden stop after black, Schwarz star failing, an obvious case. Oh, life-saving light, blink twice, aubergine lips smear pink right cheek, slow break through Indiana, pass smoke with open palm over glowing Jim Gary. Oh, no, thank you. It's very high praise. Damn, I am racing. Let's see. It's almost like I'm here alone. It's kind of crazy. 23 experiments number 24, slapstick 1, Pilsner Urkel. Pilsner Urkel, nigga articulate, wakes up mad and had to let the people at his white friend church know. Situation: man in clothes, wearing overgrown thin mustache, calmly approaches pulpit, ad-libs a statement, opens pages, finds place, continues rant lecture. And just so y'all know, I stepped in human piss and tracked that mess in here. I saw it and almost missed it for politeness. Then I remembered that that desire to preserve white sense of safety comfort is a betrayal unto self, implicit cosign of zero-sum exclusion. But still, I guess that's not cool, because it's not cute to act out, cross-arm, pout, stomp, and withdraw, be oppositional, defiant adult, let feelings determine actions, get taken over, taken away by a crush and overwhelm, can't tell where it come from, inner or outer, me or thee, pushed into panic, rush consideration leads to none, fat nulls striking out with extremity limbs, trying to catch hold of any something to slow slide, straight down grease chute, familiar free fall, no promise slowing or soft landing, panting desperation causes aspirated chemical change, different scent defined by fear, somebody reaction? Is this all so much half-step time wasted clout chasing? Maybe desire toward name kept alive in archive? Written word history sacred, objective, limping forward, dragging 50-some-year-old pale corpse, aging horribly, I mean that vainly, injecting blood a beautiful youth tribute to stay glowing, dull beacon reflecting back country club demographics. Think I want to remain out of reach, removed from broken circle, fragments on floor, dashed mask in clay pot behind plexiglass, dead object perusal, then leave, return to life, feel better, more cultured, remain unchanged, don't want to lose power access, key to elite, one wants to stay at top. That, perhaps, an essentialist claim on human nature. Me? I want love a whole world. I want love a world. Can't say don't know why. Walking towards what spell my destruction. Separation of self, seat at table, no seasoning, all raw vegan, no fire touches meat. Seated couple minutes from second largest human cargo market. New York ain't clean. People want to think it's different. Forget about year 2, 3, segregated schools. Everybody in this room complicit. Upholds and reifies, daily in action, lifestyle, movement, modes, and ways of congregation, can't tap in, signal jammed, blinded by dairy blizzard, cramped guts pouring on ceramic, stuck tied in knots, unable to move forward, stand up, see brown-eyed beauty, dark skin reflection, just grip a icy hot palpitation in chest, some like a hug punch, end laid up on ground, cold earth, facing rest of universe, all creation, living, breathing, time elastic and animate, come online, baby's first breath as free man, prey oriented towards the borders, draped all black, all white, crying, laughing, bathed in gray water, with no cotton cloth nor soap below knees. Bless the martyrs in the occupation, support the resistance, free Palestine. Oh, that reminds me. I was gonna do this whole thing where I come up and I was like, yeah, so I wanna thank Segue and Roof Books and Future Poem for allowing me to say that they unequivocally support the Palestinian resistance. That's where they stand. That's their official statement. I'm giving it to you. That's where they are. That's real. Quiet saline orb drips follow joint. If you think about it, everything's really okay, actually. If you think about it, everything's really okay, actually. Raw eggs and peanuts on a 7-Eleven donut, spaghetti wedgie, Bev piston pickle juice, high function Gabacho North American breaks fast, pulls apart nappy tobacco, Tipo Blue Hampton, names Tent City Plaza Rodrigo Gonzalez, plans 3 5-hour session with Jordan, watch Gaku come back different, use short handle broom for shards of love muscle, The gates of hell have opened, nightmares flood to earth. Am nervous in body, can still smell dimes, am cursed to tears leaking. Meanwhile, witness 21 fine thickest violinists, distressed denim under lavender light. Bonus day of Black History, year of R. Bryant. Big snake steady making dangerous, working four fangs to find point. Give up for a bit. Leave house, get vomit drunk off bile soda lime, cover your head for drip, cover your head for drip in respect to God, encourage terror against an idea, make them shake, continuous burn of styropetrol rolled under car, zum Beispiel, oder mixed into supper milk, all to say again, I do not condemn, don't think to stop is enough, whole time, still got a food shop, replace butter and Oreos plus other comfort blanket UPF. Dry stuffing for moist interior, flavor saver, take your mind off it. Wet insides dreaming of dolphin gills, mammal don't drown. No such thing as too much overwhelm. Nourishment abundant, whole world one piece. No not finger nor fear. Life is a movement motion. Never leave home. Always outside with family friend play cousins. Appoint a big sister. Later, after generations, grow neck long like periscope, peer into hell, dry body star roasted, tricking with victuals, making death sport. It's funny reading all these together. I feel like they're themes. Okay. Red left, white step glyph. Enter into Virginia flood basement mold. Scent, soft linger after remodel. Exit through interior. Follow path cross green. Barn-like garage. Meat plot a aubergine squash. Rise slow silent. Clad 99 tidewater. Shod no J. Vibrant her organ wafts stick pun me. Jeans rise from basement and life atop industrial grid. Caution, map ends at Costco, other end is Elbit. Split open to scent fading Parisian. Stairwell to Condé Nast skull and bone, locked with keycard. A person sees a person, framed line bunk radiator. Paul signs Meineke truck lettering, Paul signs Meineke truck lettering, neon awnings. There is no but, and he is multiple, no. And there is no but, and he is multitude, and he is infinite, and April 1st, April Fools, and here speak truth, elegant, eloquent, a graceful back turn under scaffold, stream strike wall graffiti green, red sticker remind a genocide, PH make a F sound, RE, Nick Juice make you nauseous. Want way clear for Nick Juice make you nauseous. Want way clear for total devotion. Old head shouts from the balcony, "Don't do it! It's gonna shred your guts. Po body don't deserve it. It's just trying to warn you against the instruments of the wifo. Penny tasting against the wifo. Penny tasting ashen soul snatcher. Rove it out for PA Cave. Malodorous metal mist. Coats Quaker counties. Location of breath reception. Passive acceptance pulls into fabric. Transforms. Turn original Asiatic into doofus on an e-bike. Puffing a vape. Pushing, plotting, reform. Soundbite like 20C Euro intellectual. In room cut half-third by two mock Corinthians. Really, we should look to nature. Perfect column, a pile of turtles. EO, flat, hollow, spherical triangle, around which one squares 7 before kneeling. with blue ceramic held aloft, full of fingernails, red paper pouch packed in naps. The magic is the ritual. It's in the incant, usually involves fire or fluid, plus earnest devotion, seriousness like chewing, lose focus, choke, or bite your tongue. Show yourself to not be good at living, dead, dick out with belt round neck. Bone sore bubble boy, newly gangly, bug eye, gagging, bleeding on dusty clay Burger King floor, whole scene shot like belly, black people look mythic beautiful, cautionary tale about playing with spirits and the wrath of God. Gotta learn the Tesseract, gotta learn the Tesseract, look within, not lose contact, wake up, hit the daily double. Wake up, hit the daily double. Wake up, hit the daily double. Unlock kryptonite and exit to running water, leafy death. Some been sacrificed. Bean cloaked big weave plastic. Form a preferred currency symbol. A poly love struck S. Love is a shield, is a suit in most highest forms. Joints all articulated. Behold. Behold. Take part in the great work, the Jacqueline Tomatenkremsuppe Aschenbecher, the great and/or holy urn, filled with ashes of the divine bodies of a pagan ritual of physical sensation. Imbibing death to bring you closer to life, performed at a picnic table with 5 wooden folding chairs, covered with moss and tree droppings and bird droppings, across the street from a forest, dotted with cultic sites and druidic dog walkers making counterclockwise circuits. The Jacqueline Tomatenkremsuppe Aschenbecher, is the magnum opus, an object standing on a slate slab by a wooden table leg, itself forming the margins of objective certainty, watched over by the bringer of light and fuel for the internet, protected by a gravel moat winding through a quiet wood in a private park at the top of a hill, a small-scale stand-in for the sublime, out of which the genial blank face of the void stares out as you work diligently to fill it up. It is entirely a symbol and entirely a use object. The Jacqueline Tomatencremsuppe Aschenbecher is the ovum philosophicum, where a sensuous being, rubbing against eternity, stores the fruit of his labor towards being in, a kind of conscious recognition and acceptance of, a kind of conscious recognition and acceptance of the will existing within the universal non-will. The Jacqueline Tomatencremsuppe Aschenbecher is an ashtray dug out of the garbage, a branded bottle, red and citrine, open and forgotten and left to rot in the back of the pantry, discovered while otherwise foraging for food and berries. A divine object, deserving of praise, metamorphosed and elevated from the profane in the breath of dozens of white sacrifices built by bringing together the four elements: paper, smoke, human spit, and the never-ending ember of Prometheus, burned to black. Behold, take part in the great work. The Jacqueline Tomatencremsuppe Aschenbecher. The great and/or holy urn filled with ashes of the divine body of a pagan ritual of physical sensation, imbibing death to bring you closer to life, performed at a picnic table with 5 wooden folding chairs covered with moss and tree droppings and bird droppings across the street from a forest, dotted with cultic sites and druidic dog walkers making counterclockwise circuits. The Jacqueline Tomatencremsuppe Aschenbecher is the magnum opus, an object standing on a slate slab by a wooden table leg, itself forming the margins of objective certainty, watched over by the bringer of light, protected by a gravel moat winding through a quiet wood in a private park at the top of a hill, a small-scale stand-in for the sublime, out of which the genial blank face of the void stares out as you work diligently to fill it up. It is entirely a symbol and entirely a use object. The Jacqueline Tomatencremsuppe Aschenbecher is the ovum philosophicum, where sensuous being, rubbing against eternity, stores the fruit of his labor towards being in, a kind of conscious recognition and acceptance of, the will existing within the universal non-will. Thank you. The Jacqueline Tomatencremsuppe Aschenbecher is an ashtray dug out of the garbage, a branded bottle, red and citrine, opened and forgotten and left to rot in the back of the pantry, discovered while otherwise foraging for food and berries. A divine object, deserving of praise, metamorphosed and elevated from the profane in the breath of dozens of white sacrifices, built by bringing together the four elements: paper, smoke, human spit, and the never-ending ember of Prometheus, burned to black. Thank you.
All right, thanks Tillman and co, and thanks Holly. Thanks Segue, thank you everyone. Next week is Alexis Almeida and Makalani Bandele, so hope you all come. Thanks so much.